The governor should be listening to the nurses, to the doctors, to the health workers, to those on the front lines, and to the families of the more than 49,000 Texans who lost their lives to COVID so far. As the nurse whose clip you just played said, we're almost there. President Biden announced this week that every adult in the country will have a vaccine by the end of May. That is so close to where we are now. For the governor to throw up his hands, surrender, and leave every Texan to their own devices when we know it is disproportionately hurting poorer communities, communities of color, and that short of a vaccine at this moment, with no mask mandate, more people will unnecessarily die. This is unconscionable. And so we really have to do our best now on our own to protect one another by wearing masks, regardless of what the governor said, keeping our distance, and then trying to help the most vulnerable get vaccinated in time before they get sick or hospitalized or die. I don't know. It could have a lot to do with the last 4 years of the Trump administration through the Orwellian named Migrant Protection Protocol, where tens of thousands of asylum seekers were kept cooped up and in shelters and internment camps in Mexico on the border. Now that you have an administration that's willing to follow our asylum laws and process those lawful applicants, of course, you're going to see increased demand here in the US. The long-term solution, of course, is a comprehensive rewriting of our immigration laws to reflect the reality on the ground and our values. And this is really important for Secretary Blinken and the Biden administration to make Central America and our neighbors to the south the primary focus of our foreign policy. If we do not, this challenge will continue to appear regardless of who is president or what year we happen to be living in. We've got to address issues on the ground that are causing people to flee more than 2,000 miles. And Devin, many of these issues were caused by the United States to begin with, whether it's illegal drug consumption or the war on drugs or our contribution to climate change that's made many of these communities in Central America unlivable, or our contributions to their civil wars in the 1970s and 1980s. All of this is coming back to us right now. It's our responsibility to do the right thing. And I hope that President Biden and his team will. I think the administration is doing the best that they possibly can. Remember, Secretary Mayorkas was sworn in. I don't know that it's even been a month. And he and his team trying to do their best to meet this challenge, to protect the security and safety of the United States while still honoring the humanity of those asylum seekers who traveled so far, leaving some of the most brutal countries on the face of the planet. So I think they're doing their best, but in addition to this, we do need some long-term solutions in place. That's going to require leadership from the president as well as his allies in Congress. You really have the power generators and electricity companies running the show in Texas. If you follow the money, some of these electricity utilities have given the governor literally hundreds of thousands in unrestricted donations, energy companies in the millions directly to the governor. That might explain the radical deregulation we have in Texas that led to this disaster. So we need to tighten up the regulation and the oversight. We need to invest in weatherization of the grid. We need to connect ERCOT, our electricity grid, with that of the rest of the country so that we can draw down power in emergencies like this one. And we need to have people in power who believe that climate change is happening and help us to prepare against it and also to change policies so that we don't contribute any more to it. Those are the steps we need to take. They're pretty clear. The scientists are telling us that's the way forward. We just need people in positions of public trust who will listen to them and follow the facts. the only answer to the rollback of voting rights secured in this country thanks to courageous civil rights leaders in the 1950s and 1960s and the passage of the 65 Voting Rights Act is to make sure that H.R. 1, which just passed the House of Representatives and is Senate Bill 1 in the Senate, known as For the People Act, is passed in that institution and signed into law by Joe Biden. It will require, as you know, a rewriting of the rules on the filibuster so it can pass by a simple 51 vote majority. But if we do that, we open up democracy to tens of millions of our fellow Americans to whom it's been denied, and we stop these more than 250 attempts in over 43 states to roll back the meager protections we already have in place. We are counting on the Senate Democrats to do the right thing at this critically important moment for our democracy. Thank you so much.